What are our thoughts on municipal bonds?
Municipal bonds. Okay, so it's kind of interesting. Municipal bonds, of course, they pay tax-free growth,
So depending
right?
on the state, so
Yeah,
take California example. If you take a municipal bond that's issued by a California municipal, it would be federally tax free and then state income tax free too.
that's right.
So there's a lot of tax advantages of municipal bonds, but they tend to pay a lower rate because of the advantage.
Right. Yeah, you have to be in a certain tax bracket to kind of equal out. You got a taxable bond and a tax-free bond. Tax-free bond's going to pay less, but after tax, if you have a high enough tax bracket, you might be making less than a municipal bond.
Yeah.
If you have a low enough tax bracket, maybe not. You're still better off in the taxable bond. So it does make a difference as to what tax bracket you're in, as to how that works. Um, but I am been doing this for 38 years, and I'll tell you something I really feel strongly about. Don't invest your money based on tax. I have seen so many people underperform and have troubles because they're trying to do things on tax. So many of the big blowups, the limited partnerships, were all about tax.
Hmm.
They weren't about return. Well, they took away the tax cut, and the return wasn't there. And I've got all kinds of people saddled with these limited partnerships. I mean, I can go on and on. I have clients who have me meet with their CPAs, and we're looking at everything through a tax lens and trying to reduce taxes. And I'll come up and show them, look, the average client in our practice who's not focused on tax just made 100,000 more than you, or whatever it might be, so that you could save 10,000 in taxes. But so with municipal bonds, one of the problems that happens is that for me, bonds are mostly a safe haven. We make our money on the stock market, so we
Hmm.
put as much as we can into the stock market, much as we can afford emotionally, mentally, what your plan says you have to have, whatever it is. And so the rest needs to go someplace to protect that stock market
Hmm.
return, and to lessen. So you're not putting 100% in the stock market. Where are you going to put the rest?
Yep.
So I put the rest in cash or CDs and money markets. Well, that's good, except it doesn't go up when the stock market crashes. Okay. I'm looking for something that has a chance to go up when the stock market crashes, and I can still make money on it. So in other words, I could always buy an inverse fund,
Hmm.
but I'm losing money during the up markets. Okay, so I don't want that.
Hmm.
So bonds tend to fit that category of I can still make some money on it and has a chance of going up. That did not happen in 2022, but
Hmm.
it happened in 2000. It happened. It dropped a lot less in 2008. So on a relative basis, it did well. It actually went up in the 2000 downturn.
Yeah, so we were looking for kind of like a diversification against stock market that has
Yes.
some sort of, parachute effect. And municipal bonds can be.
Well, here's what's happened. And if you look back at 2000, you look back at 2008, for example, municipalities were defaulting
Mhm.
on their bonds here in California. San Bernardino defaulted on their bonds. Municipal bonds sunk like a stone as a whole. Now, there was probably some buying opportunities in there at some point in time, but they all got washed. And they didn't work nearly as well as your normal corporate bonds, your normal treasury bonds, and those types of things. So we'll use municipal bonds if somebody really, really wants to do that. But otherwise, I'm looking, I believe you make money in the stock market. You make money in real estate and the stock market. That's it. You're not going to get rich off of bonds, whether it's municipal or not.
Mhm.
And so you're really splitting hairs there, trying to save a little bit of tax that you'll probably lose all of that gains in the next big downturn.
Mhm.
Because you won't have that offsetting standpoint of the bonds going up or holding up more, and especially if you use a rebalancing mechanism, like iShares, BlackRock did a big study, and when the stock market, when your allocation drops by 5% or more, you're supposed to rebalance. So if I have a 60% allocation and I drop to 55%, I want to rebalance. So what I want to be able to do is pull money out of that bond
Mhm.
market, and I want that to be up as much as it can. It might be down, but be down way less. So for example, the stock market dropped, I think in 2008, 57% from high to low. The total bond market index was down about 10% from its high to low, still came down. But
Mhm.
if I'm rebalancing, I can take some of that money that I've kind of saved in, the bond market portion, and I can buy in at a lower point with the stock. So that's where municipal bonds just, they don't fit in that concept. And I understand what people are trying to do, but I look at total rate of return over the lifetime of that client, and we have had more of these big downturns now.
Mhm.
We had 2000, we had 2008, we had 2020. three of them here just since 2000 in 24 years, or 20 years technically, whereas they were 35 years apart before that. The Great Depression, the 73 downturn, and 2000 were 35 years apart.
Mhm.
And now we're talking about three in the last 20 years. So I think that's here to stay. The internet moves money quickly. We can create all kinds of products like credit default swaps, sell $7 trillion worth of credit default swaps in 7 years. And those type of things that can really bring down the stock market in a hurry. So I think that focusing on the stock market and something to save you from the stock market, I think that's where bonds fit in. They're the best I can see
Yep.
as a hedge. I'm sure there's something better out there, but it's probably way more complicated and possibly a lot more expensive too. So, okay, good.